Okay. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. My lighting is a little off today. I just moved to Europe for a couple months. Okay, so number one, can everybody see and hear me? I'm literally using a new computer, new office, new everything. So if you guys could let me know, that would be wonderful. And as everybody is joining me, please let me know who's joining me, where you're joining me from. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to be here with you guys for this training. And today we're going to be talking about how to create and run a six-figure retreat. So yes, okay, thank you, Selena. I really appreciate it. So awesome, let's dive in. So a couple things. I want everybody to grab a pen and paper, preferably like 3 sheets of paper, because you're going to be taking a lot of notes. And hello, everybody. Okay, so I see Facebook user, just so you guys know, you got to click the permission above to give StreamYard permission so I can see your name. Otherwise, hi, Joyce. Thank you for clicking the hi, Mayan. So good to see you guys. Savannah, Georgia, Texas, Boulder. Yay, somebody's joining from Boulder. I wonder who it is. You got to click the link. Otherwise, I just see Facebook user. Johanna is here. Awesome. All right. Ann Arbor, Michigan. So we have, oh my goodness. Awesome. So many wonderful people. So good to see you guys back. It feels like it's a new year already. We're not even there yet, but the energy is so different. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but I'm so excited about 2021 and getting it started on the right foot with you all. So everybody hopefully has their sheets of paper, pen, paper, highlighters, all that. And I want to break this down for you how retreats happen. So we actually just closed a $130,000 retreat. We're reverse engineering a $200,000 retreat as the next one, and one of the next retreats in 2021 as $1 million retreat. Right? There is no, it's not like a rocket science. There's really, it's very, very simple math and numbers of how you get there. So I'm so excited to share these strategies with you guys. Hi, Julie. So good to see you. Yes, you're showing now, Anne. Good to see you. All right. So how does this happen? You know, we just onboarded a new client 2.5 weeks ago. She just finished her first retreat. She didn't wait. We always teach like wait 5 weeks, then do your first one. She literally did one right away. She had 100 people registered. She didn't wait. She was like, hey, I only had 60 people. I'm like, okay, get a little bit more. She closed 4 clients at over $9,000 price point. So it's like $36,000 in sales for a week of work. So, and that was like with very, very little preparation. We had another client close $52,000 in sales, another one do $26,000 in sales, another one do $30,000 in sales, and so on and so forth. And you're going to see those numbers increase because as we're changing the model and we're teaching new things, you're going to see a lot of really cool stuff. So before we dive in, stay till the end. I have a special announcement, special offer for you at the very end, and a little gift for you as well. For those of you guys who are joining me for the very first time, welcome. I am the founder. My name is Eva with an I. It's not Iva, by the way. I always find it funny when people call me Iva. I'm like, oh, I forgot to tell you, it's Eva with an I. I am the founder of the Quantum Leap Entrepreneur, where we currently have about 40 or so incubated companies that we're taking through different tracks from 0 to 6 to multi 6 to 7 figures and beyond in the future as well. We help 4 different types of businesses scale. And basically the 4 different verticals are the health and wellness businesses, service-based businesses, the spiritual division, we have a business and career division, and we have a love and family division. So all kinds of coaches and consultants and healers and therapists and so on and so forth, right? So this is also a year 1 of my 30-year vision of graduating thousands of companies to make this world a better place. And, and it's also, I'm going to share more about my vision next week because our next week's show is going to be all about visioning. But I have a vision and mission to donate one big, very, very fat check of a donation for empowerment and trauma healing of girls and young women. So let's go and talk about these retreats. I want to give you a little bit of a history of the events that we have done. And I'm super curious if you're willing to share what are the events that you have done, because we have literally done anything and everything you can imagine. I have done many, 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 many speaking engagements, the 20-minute, 30-minute, hour and a half, whatever you have. We have done different kinds of workshops and workshop funnel, leading workshop for other people in other organizations, as well as setting our own through our meetup or through our own organizations, doing live launches, doing challenges, doing anything from a 20-minute event all the way to a 10-day event. And what happened was that I did one of those 10-day events, and it was super great, and we generated a lot of revenue. But I was having a conversation after that of like, wow, this is so much work. And after 10 days, I felt completely drained and exhausted, and I had to go on board all these people. And as a mom, as you guys know, I'm a single mom to now almost an 11-month-old, but at the time she was a little bit younger, and I was exhausted, and I was going through like, holy cow, how in the world am I going to keep doing this? Because the 10-day events were really, really, really exhausting. And I have a very wonderful relationship with my mom, who is a spiritual healer. And she, this is a little bit on a woo side, but she helps me connect to my higher self, and she can actually channel my higher self through where we have a very direct conversation when I ask a question and get a very direct answer. And so we do some of my business planning with my soul. Told you that was a little bit woo with my mom. And the conversation that we had was, how do I do this? What do I do? Because these 10-day events are just too much. And I feel so disconnected from my daughter after, because it's a lot of energy and attention I'm putting into it. So I was looking at 5-day event, 3-day event, 2-day event, anything to keeping the 10-day event. And I was asking a bunch of different questions about, okay, what's the right format? What's the right number of days? What's the, how long should the sessions be? And when should I bring in other speakers? When should I put an offer out? When should I close the cart for the offer? How should I price it? What kind of different options I should have? Like anything and everything. I was asking these questions and getting answers. With my mom, we're working with my higher self, and it was really powerful. And I will tell you, so we ended up designing a 7-day retreat. Right. And some of you guys participated in one of those. Some of you guys are registered for the next one of those, which is in January 25th. Right. And it turns out the revenue was 3 times higher than the previous event that we did, at a lot less work, because it was in 7 days instead of 10. Right. And we added some elements too. We didn't just subtract work, we added some different elements as well. So that was quite interesting that, there was still a lot of work, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But it was in a shorter time. It was a 7-day thing where I can really focus and I can give it my all, versus like spreading it out over 2 weeks, which, was too much. And the results were phenomenal. The community was great. The kind of people we attracted were unbelievable. And the clients that we onboarded, I cannot even tell you how perfect they are for, our program and so on and so forth. So I really, really highly recommend it. And that's what I'm going to share with you. So that's a little bit about me. You're going to see Selena and Jay in the chat, as well as Melissa here and there. They are on team. It's our business. They're unbelievable. They're here to serve you. They're here to support you. But by the way, before the next retreat, you're going to be assigned a consultant who's going to be working with you on your strategy. So you're going to see one of them in the chat. You're going to have a DM from them. So just so you know, they're absolute and unbelievable experts in their field. They have been working with us for some time. They're very, 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 very qualified. They have unbelievable experiences in their own businesses. And I can tell you they know a lot. So make sure you use them. Okay. So, I want to dive right into, if you guys are ready, I would like to dive into the 5 things that you absolutely need to have in place if you're going to do a 7-day retreat and you want to close 6 figures in revenue in that retreat or beyond. So who's ready? Type in ready. Also, I want to know, like, have you done a virtual event before? Have you done a challenge or retreat or anything like that before, so that we can kind of tweak this session to you guys? So I want to know where you guys are at. Are you ready for this? Awesome. By the way, don't forget to click the link above so we can see your name. So excited for this. So there's going to be a lot of notes. Feel free to pause. Feel free to ask any questions as we go. It's going to be a lot of note taking, but I promise you this is kind of work. This is really worth your time. So the 5 things that you absolutely have to make it a successful event. And we have done so many of those. I share this openly. Our first event was like a $7,000 in revenue. It was just so hard and it was so much work. And then we started improving and improving and improving. And we are where we are because of the incremental improvements every single time. Hi, Deidre. So happy to have you here. Deidre, Joyce, 3-day challenge. Awesome. All right. Let's see. I want to scroll above. Somebody says that in an indie filmmaker retreat a few years ago. Awesome. Without any instructions. Oh my goodness. That would be really, really hard. Boot camps, master classes. Very, very cool. Yes, that's really, really awesome. Seems like you're doing quite a bit there. So virtual summit. Oh my gosh, that's quite the undertaking. Awesome. All right. So number 1, you have to provide an unforgettable experience. And this is the reason we moved from doing those things live to doing them over Zoom, because we really wanted people to connect. We wanted to do breakout rooms. We wanted to do guided meditation. We wanted to use music. We wanted to do countdown music, all kinds of things, because we didn't want people just to learn with their brain. We wanted them to kind of be in the experience of it and be able to look at each other, right? So that's part of creating experience, right? So experiential stuff, over the top content. Over the top content, you gotta blow their mind. It's 2021 almost. And there's so many events. There's so many challenges. There's so many live launches, whatever you have. It is literally crazy. And if you wanted, you could be on a Facebook group challenge like every single week, right? In your field. It is so crazy. And so if you want yours to be successful, you really want to have over the top value. You don't want to hold back. You really want to deliver so much value. You really want to put some thought into what you're providing, when, how are you structuring it, be working in your methodology that you're teaching so you can really deliver like over the top thing. People are like, okay, this makes so much sense. You know what I mean? So that's number 1, right? You also want to really speak to their pain point. You want somebody who's listening to be saying, wow, like that's really me she's talking to. So you really want to know your audience and speak in their words rather than like the marketing lingo and, everybody's working on their messaging. Really, really speak their language. So before you even go into a retreat, like you want to get on as many calls with people in your community as you can and really be really listening to what they're trying to get out of it, right? And speak and listen to what they're telling you in terms of their pain points. We like to get on a call with every single person in our community. We're going to be reaching to every single one of you too, because we want to hear what is that you're trying to get out of the retreat, to customize it to you and really speak to you and be able to speak your language, right? So that's one of the things, but really over the top content, that's a rule number 1. Don't hold back. Don't worry that people won't buy because you gave them so much for free. That literally is the biggest, I don't even know what to say about it, because I've been told that so many times, Eva, you give so much. Well, I don't care because it really works. I do give people so much. We don't hold back. We give them practical stuff, but it really, really, really works. So I'm going to keep giving, and that allows me to live in my purpose and to be authentic in my marketing, because my marketing allows me to serve people, right? And do what I love. So there's that. So that's number 1. Number 2, over the top support. We serve our heart out. It is so crazy. We do implementation sessions every single day. right? We had like 27 implementation sessions on day one. We have 80 people trying to sign up on the last one. It was crazy, but we're like, okay, we're going to support every single person, right? So serve like crazy. It's the reciprocity. Yeah, you know, like you want to customize the experience to your people. And it is like one of the things that literally like changed everything for us doing these 10-minute implementation sessions. It was so awesome to also see where people at and getting that feedback. And then I was adjusting the content day by day based on what they were telling me. It was so cool. And of course, worksheets, which many of you guys know, worksheets are crucial. Because when people have something written down on a piece of paper, it's much more magical than just, you know, listening and whatever. Like people really like their worksheet, right? It's one of the elements. Because, you know, what we call a retreat, let's take a step back for a minute. We're on Zoom teaching for 45 minutes most of the time, 45 to 60 at the most, right? And it's a retreat. But part of the retreat is being in the experience. It's the whole shebang. It's the implementation session. It's the conversations that it's after. It's the worksheet. It's giving people homework to reflect and implement what we're doing day by day, right? For you, it might mean asking them to do a forgiveness walk or self-forgiveness walk, asking them to do a guided meditation, doing different kinds of homework, write things out, plan out the year, whatever it is. Like it's in being in that experience the whole week. It's not just sitting on Zoom with you for 45 minutes. I hope that makes sense, guys. All right. So that's number 2, right? And again, the experiential stuff really helps people solidify the learning. We found that we just did a couple breakout room sessions, but people just being able to share with each other and strategize with each other, it was one of the most powerful things in the experience. So some of the things you can do is, you know, for example, you can do a guided meditation exercise. Then you can have people like write something down for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, reflect on something. Then you can put them in a breakout rooms where they share with each other and then they switch. And then you can bring them back into the main room and have a couple people share from the whole audience, right? Of course, you have to manage it. Otherwise, if you don't give them instructions, one person's just going to go on and on and on. But if you know how to manage it and you give them good instructions, you're going to see that being very powerful for the whole group, right? So again, number 1, unforgettable experience. Number 2, over-the-top support, right? We do so much support in the DM. It is crazy. We're in the DM with every single person, debriefing every single day, asking, what did you get out of it? What do you need to brainstorm? Getting on the implementation session, right? Because when you provide this level of support, then people start trusting you. People have had a lot of experience with other coaches out there, but when you provide this level of experience, they're going to start trusting you and they're going to want to work with you because they're going to know that is the level of support they will experience when they're with you. Hope that makes sense in a paid program, right? Number 3, sell your heart out. Selling, you know, people like when they first started their business, selling is this thing that is just like icky and salesy and it's so awkward and you don't know what to say and how to say it and this and that. You know, selling is my spiritual purpose. It's when I go, you know, one of these sessions, I start talking about my program, the Quantum Leap Entrepreneur. It's literally my favorite session. And I could talk about it all the time, except, you know, people don't want to hear about it until they're like, oh, okay, I really like what you're doing here. Now tell me about your program, right? But when you do sell your heart out, go full out, make sure that people understand how amazing your program is. People understand your heart, why you do what you do. And so when you sell, don't hold back. Don't hold back, right? We have our clients sell on session 4, session 5, session 6, session 7. They have, you know, clients that are coming on that they're interviewing, and we teach them how to sell to the different levels of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, to the urgent needs, as well as to the purpose, how to stack their offer, how to sell to objections, how to sell, you know, around, you know, sharing different client stories and this and that. It is so important. Selling on camera is going to make your job so much easier when you learn how to confidently present your offer on camera. And it's so important. It's so important. It's going to make your conversations on the phone or in the DM so much easier. It's so flat. People know what you're offering. People know what you're charging. It is so easy. I cannot even tell you. Like, I have grown to absolutely love selling on camera. It was something that I was absolutely terrified to do when I was doing it for the first time. And I was going literally into, I made the transition for the first time. I remember it was like a year ago. No, it was more than a year ago. I was going into the transition and I was like, oh, everybody's going to drop, because I was giving them an option. Hey, you want to stay? I'm going to pitch. If you want to leave, that's fine, leave, right? And I was so terrified everybody was going to leave. And I was just, you cannot imagine. I was mortified probably just as much as you were the first time you were selling on camera. Just super curious. How many of you guys are used to selling on camera? Give me a 1 if you sell. Or give me, on a scale 1 to 5, how comfortable are you selling on camera? 5 being like, I'm super comfortable, do it all the time. I can like pitch like nobody's business. I can talk about my program. And 1 being like, I've never done it and I need to learn. And 3 is like, yeah, you can like pitch your offer, but you don't feel like terribly confident. I'd really love to know where everybody is. And it's totally okay. Wherever you are, it's totally perfect. We all start somewhere. So awesome. I see some 5s, some 4s. All right, who else? Let's see. So again, on a scale 1 to 5, how confident do you feel selling on camera? 1, never done it, right? Totally scared, maybe. 2 have done it, but still uncomfortable. 5 is like, I'm total rock star. I can sell anything on camera. Awesome. So we have some 4s, awesome. Some 5s. We have some super rock stars on camera. Awesome. So selling your heart out is such a huge part of it. Whenever I go into the invitation, the offer, the pitch, right? I like to go for a run and just get myself in a space of total gratitude and just get present to why I do what I do, why I love my program so much, why I like my clients so much, right? And that's the spiritual work. But of course, there is the mechanics of selling, right? I'm very, very intentional about how I'm speaking to different objections before they come up. How am I selling to different aspects, different needs? The urgency, the FOMO, the different buying triggers, whatever you have, right? So there's so much to it, right? So I am very, very intentional about what I include where and, how I teach it for our clients as well. So that's number 3, sell your heart out, right? I used to say, pitch your heart out, really. I used to have a training called pitch your heart out. So important. Number 4, and it's just going to be a little bit of fun. We're here. I love numbers. I really love talking about numbers because numbers give us freedom. Understanding your conversion rates. How many invitations do you have to send out? How many registrations do you have to have? How much how much budget you're going to put into Facebook ads and so on and so forth. It is so important. So I want to walk you through some numbers that I want you to write down so that you can make sure that your retreat is a success. Number 1, you want to have 4 times the number of super qualified leads to the number you want to close. What does that mean? If you want to bring 10 people into your program out of the retreat, you need to have 40 highly qualified, hot leads, okay? 4 times the number, right? If you want to bring 5 people into your program, that means 20 hot qualified leads, okay? So, what does that mean, right? I'm not talking registrations. You should have much more registrations than that. Your hot and qualified leads need to meet certain criteria. they must have a certain buying mindset demonstrated by their previous buying decisions, right? Like, do they invest in this space? It's not necessarily just can they afford it, because that doesn't necessarily sometimes tell you a whole lot, right? Like, somebody can have a lot of money, but they are not in the mindset of investing into spiritual growth, versus, somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, but their priority number one in life is their spiritual growth, and that is the space they invest in. Hope that makes sense. So their buying mindset, their previous buying decisions, are they the decision maker? Can they actually make that decision? Or is it their business partner or their life partner that has a say in that? They're not going to be able to make the decision on their own, right? So are they a qualified lead, right? If you're selling to corporations, that's more important than anything, right? To know who the buyer is, that. But in the consumer space, we don't realize that sometimes there's other influencers as decision makers and so on and so forth, and we end up talking to somebody only to find out that their spouse is totally unsupportive and they're not going to make the decision, right? So that can be really heartbreaking. So make sure you know who the decision maker is. Make sure they're in the right buying mindset. Make sure they can buy now. What is the timeline? Like, is this an urgent need for them, right? This is the kind of things you want to know ahead of time. Because, right, like, I can be talking to somebody, it's all great, but they're not planning to starting their business for another year. They want to keep in their corporate job another year. That's not a qualified lead. You know what I mean? And if I knew that ahead of time, I would know that. So that does not count as part of my 40, right? Hope that makes sense. So 4X, the number of hot and qualified leads, super important. So that's the first number. You want to make sure, like, you have some relationship with those people. You're either talking to them, at least over DM, voice texting, whatever. You have had some phone calls with these people. They're engaged. You have a relationship. You have a relationship with them of some sort, and you're nurturing their relationship. You are serving them already, right? Number 2 statistic that I want to give you. On day 1, you want to have 8 times the number of people watching to the number you want to close. If your price point is above 10K, okay? I hope that makes sense. If your price point is above 10K for the year, for the program, you want to have 8 times the number of people watching on day 1 than what you want to close. For example, if your price point is, 11, 12K, whatever you have, you want to close 10 people. You want to make sure you have 80 people watching on day 1. Is this making sense to everybody? Can I get some, if this is making sense to you guys, give me 1 in the chat. So I know this is making sense to y'all, because it's quite important you get it. If your price point is below, right? I don't recommend anybody's price point be below 5K for the year. Unless you're really, really starting out, you need to get your feet wet and whatever, get some, proof of concept, whatever you have. But if you are in the 5K to 10K point, thank you. Thanks, Julian, whoever else. I can't see your names for some of you guys. Anyway, if your price point is between 5 to 10K, it's going to be a little bit less people. It's going to be more like 5X, right? To what you want, the number of people you want to be watching, to what you want to close on day 1. Now, that's going to change between day 1 and day 7, right? Typically what we see is, on day 1, we'll have like this many people. Day 2, it's going to drop, because the people on day 1 will sort themselves out and be like, okay, this is for me, or this is not for me, right? I can resonate. Like, not everybody resonates with me, right? Some people are like, get me out of here. This is too much, or whatever, right? And that's really fine. They will kind of sort themselves out. On day 2, it will drop. And then it will kind of stay the same. So we'll see. I want to say, what did we do last time? We have 90 on day 1, and then we went to 60, day 3, 4, 5-ish. So you can kind of see what to shoot for, as you kind of want it to stabilize all the way till the end. Okay, so that's what you should be seeing. If you're seeing like more than half a drop between day 1 and day 2, then, something is off. Maybe your targeting is off. you don't have the right content for the right people. So you're gonna need to play with the positioning, and either the positioning of what you're teaching or the targeting, because your leads are not quite a match for what you're delivering. I hope that makes sense. All right. So third statistic I want you to write down, and this is a little bit advanced, but we have some. I'm seeing who is here. I'm seeing you guys because I have been with some of you guys on the call, so I know who's here. So I'm not afraid to put a bunch of math at you guys. I know you can handle it, but you want to have 3x the number of people that you want to be closing to watch your offer, full offer, right? When you go and do your full stack, when you pitch, you want to have 3x the number of people watching all the way till the end, okay? Like that will kind of tell you, right? And if people are dropping, you're like, okay, maybe this offer is not quite right for them, and you can reposition it or whatever. But that's what you're gonna see. If you wanna close 10 people, you wanna make sure 30 stay and watch the whole offer, right? Because you can have an option. They can drop, they can stay. It's up to them, right? And you should, by the way, when you pitch, you should absolutely invite them to leave if they want to just implement all this on their own, right? Like we do all the time, because like we want to make sure that we don't have people like watching there who have zero interest like working with us, right? Like that doesn't help us, that doesn't help them. So anyway, so you want to have 3 times the number of people that are watching your offer to the number of closes you want to generate, okay? Next statistic, a minimum of 3 times the number of 2 to 3 times the consults to how many people you want to bring into the program, right? So you're going to be having consults at some point in your retreat. You're going to be inviting people into talking to you on the phone whether we should work together or not, right? And the last statistic, never, ever, ever go below 250 registrants. This is the most important statistic. Never go below 250 registrants, right? And people break it all the time. and Meg, who just mentioned she had like 100 registrants, so she broke it. But in her case, we made a call because there were so many qualified leads, and she was doing the calls. She was following everything that we're teaching. She was, doing a lot of really, really great nurture. She had the content was a match, so we decided to go with it, right? So, but in general, especially when you're first starting out, this is where people fail the most. They will not schedule enough time or budget, one or another, for the lead generation. And this is the most important thing. I cannot stress this enough. Please never, ever, ever, ever go like, I'm just going to do a retreat. I'm just going to go on Zoom. I'm going to hope I'll post some social media posts up, and I'm going to hope somebody shows up, because nobody will. So if you have done events in the past, you didn't have 250 registrations and it didn't work for you, it's not because you're a terrible teacher. It's not because you suck as a coach. It's because you didn't do the lead generation, right? And that's why I see people totally give up and get totally disempowered. And it's like, oh my gosh, everything sucks. And that is not the case. They just did not do the lead gen. It has nothing to do with them or their skills or anything like that. So this is why I always recommend a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks of really just, driving registrations and yada, yada, yada. You need to know how many registrants you're going to have, right? Depending on how many people you want to bring into your program. Then you really want to make sure that you break it down, you reverse engineer it every single day. How many people do I need to bring in, and how am I going to do that, right? And we teach people how to do that and all that, and I don't have time to get into it today, but you really want to be very, very clear, the time investment or the money investment, and have it, if you're doing this manually, if you're doing organic lead gen and you're reaching out, you have somebody else doing it for you, you want to have it time blocked. You want to have buffer time in it, because things are always going to go wrong. People are like, oh my gosh, my Instagram account got shut down, whatever. Well, that's going to happen, right? Like stuff like that, like the technology is not going to work, or people are just not going to convert the way you want them to, or whatever, or you're going to be tweaking your audience. So So you definitely want to make sure you're dedicating the time. Anne is asking, with what happens if you don't have 250 registrations? You postpone the retreat. I personally would, because it wouldn't be worth my time, right? Spending, we would still get results. We would probably still make a lot of money, but it is not worth my time, investing the time. And those are very intense days. We're doing so many implementation calls. I do it once every 8 weeks. That's it, right? That's it. When I do that, it's time away from Lexi, from my daughter, right? I make sure I schedule everything around it, and I do stuff ahead of time, so it's not like terribly different, but it's time away from my family. It's very intense, right? Because we still have our client program running, or clients that I'm surveying. I'm not going to invest the time in. However, it depends on your personal situation. With one of our clients, we made the call because we looked at how many qualified leads does she have in there? Has she had phone calls with them? How many are qualified of that pool? And it turns out all the nurture was there. So we made the call, and she had 4% conversion rate, which was pretty great, right? So typically you're going to be looking at what, we say like a minimum of 1.8% conversion rate, but she had 4% because they were very, very highly qualified, right? So it really depends like what your financial goals are. I hope that makes sense. But in general, I say don't do that, because you're going to be disappointed with the results at the beginning, especially when your conversion rate is lower, right? If you have done many retreats, your content converts, your leads are qualified, yeah, I mean, go for it. If you just want to do a retreat, have 100 people in there, close 4 of them, 3 of them, whatever, at $10,000 mark, make $40,000, sure, right? But in general, when you're starting out, you're going to be looking at like 1.8 to 2% conversion when you're starting out. And depending on what you're charging, it might just not be worth the effort, because you're serving people so much. You want to make sure that this is worth it for you and enough people are exposed to it. It's also about how many people are you going to serve, right? And a lot of people have, there's a lot of mindset blocks that get in the way of registrations. And a lot of it is like, really, there's underlying fear of serving that many people at once. And that can show up. And like, do I really trust myself to be in a Zoom for 100 people? Somebody asked, I can't see you guys what your name is, but somebody asked, are these paid or free retreats? Those are free. Those are free. Those are always free. I would never recommend charging. So many different reasons, but really, you would have to build another funnel to get people into a paid retreat. So like the complexity of it just be crazy. Anyway, so I don't get into paid retreat. It would not be worth even charging for it. Even if I was charging, it just wouldn't be worth it. I make plenty of money, extending the invitation, inviting people into a year-long program. So if your program is priced appropriately, then, you will be making plenty of money, right? But this is your opportunity to serve a large number of people for free, blow their mind, and then extend an invitation, right? So yes, I absolutely recommend doing a pop-up group for retreats. And we do have one. Some of you guys are watching this in the January retreat group, and some of you guys are watching this in the main group, right? So we have a pop-up group for people who registered. By the way, if you're not registered, if somebody could, Jay or something, if you guys could pop the link to our retreat group, you guys are welcome to go and register. It's happening in a January Serve retreat group. So yes, we have a pop-up group. Highly, highly, highly recommended. We used to run events out of our main group, the It's Her Business. And we just found that to be so overwhelming to sort through, like who's participating, who's not, who's registered. And yeah, we didn't like it. I really like having a close-knit community, only the people who are participating in the retreat in a container together, because it's a very different energy. People doing this together, yes, they're on Zoom, but yeah, we do a lot of like follow-ups and homework and this and that and conversations in the group. So it goes side by side. You have a pop-up group and you're doing the sessions on Zoom. All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's the numbers. Okay. So And I'm going to recap this for you guys at the end. So I know there is a lot in terms of the numbers, but very, very, very important, especially the number of registrations. So schedule it out, never go below 250 registrants, and really like dedicate the time, to doing the lead gen. All right. So number 5 is a no-brainer program to lead people into. I mean, this is a no-brainer, right? Like you need to have a very, very strong offer to lead people into. You have a few options though. You can have, number 1, you can have a super high ticket one-on-one program, right? You can do that, right? Or you can have a group program or incubator type of setting, okay? So with a super high ticket one-on-one, okay? So you need to have a strategy. You need to have a strategy to be able, if you're looking to scale your business to, to achieve, some financial success, you need to have a way or find an audience that can actually afford a pretty high ticket group program, right? Or individual program, excuse me, right? So for executive coaching or whatever, that makes sense, right? But in general, I want to say, like, unless you can charge, or you can work up to charging at least $3,000 a month for a one-on-one coaching, and you can work up to it and your audience is going to be able to support it, your alternative is a high-touch small group program, okay? And the way I like to run things is very high intensity, high touch solution. It's what we do. And here's the advantages. You can charge a lot less. You can charge a lot less than obviously you would do in one-on-one setting. You can give people so much. You can give people so much. If you want, you can have them on a call 5 times a week. That's 5 hours of your time, right? You can do workshop, Q&A 1, Q&A 2, office hours, whatever, a mindset call, you're done. That's 5 hours of your time. Now people are with you 5 times a week. That is not a fit, by the way, for every single type of client, right? It is a fit if you're doing business coaching, not so much if you're doing a relationship coaching. Who want to sit with you 5 days a week? You know what I mean? So you want to be kind of accounting for what your ideal clients want, okay? But you see this, you can give them so much. They can be in your energy. They can be continuously learning. Imagine if you were trying to give somebody 5 hours of your time in a private setting every single week. You wouldn't get anywhere with that, right? Like you would have to charge them so much. You would be exhausted doing this one-on-one. You probably would not feel very fulfilled because you're repeating yourself all the time over and over. I know that because I've been there, done that. Actually, I used to do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and I was doing like 4-hour VIP intensives, once a month, or, hour a week coaching and whatever. And it was exhausting, and I was still not able to nowhere near give people all the information they actually needed to succeed, okay? Nowhere near. And there was, not enough accountability, not enough support, yada, 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 right? And of course, they had to pay me a lot more than for a group program. So you kind of have to look at, if you're doing a private program, great. Does it have a potential to scale up to $3K a month price point to actually be able to support you and your family? Because there's only so many hours in a week you can coach and teach, right? There's really only so many hours in a week you can do that. Right? Generally, like 10 hours a week is kind of your maximum if you want to run your business, do all the other things and content and retreats, whatever, right? So, you need to think strategically about what, anyway, I hope that makes sense to everybody. So, but you do have a few options. You can do a super high ticket one-on-one, or you can do a group program incubator, right? So, it's also like an individual choice. Like I personally want to serve as many people as possible. Right? I still want to serve them at a deeper level because my vision is to really, work with people. And I always say this, like, I want to help bloom the next Brené Browns in their field, right? So it's a lot of high touch, but I also want to serve a large number of people, right? So for me, the one-on-one just doesn't have integrity because I just I just wouldn't be able to serve the number of people I want, and I wouldn't be able to relate to them. So you have to also like check within yourself, like what is right for you, what is right for your vision and mission, right? So, anyway, having a no-brainer program, and what that means in your retreat setting is that you teach the what and a why in your retreat. You give them the answer key. You literally tell them what they need to do and why they need to do it. Now they have an option, right? They can go and implement on their own, or if they want the step-by-step implementation, hand-holding, coaching, teaching, debriefing, yada, 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 with you, and they want to make sure they be successful, then they continue working with you. Does that make sense? So your paid program is an extension of your 7-day retreat. Is this making sense to everybody? Give me a yes in the chat if this is making sense. So retreat, right? You tell them exactly what and why. You don't hold anything back. I don't hold anything back in our retreats. I tell them exactly what and why. I give them the whole system strategy on how to scale, right? Like I tell them like how to create a program, how to create your brand, like all the retreat stuff. Like we give it all away, but then, okay, like you can do this on your own, or you can have the step-by-step implementation. It's kind of up to you how you do it, right? So anyway. So that's that. All right. So let's see if we have any questions really quick. Back in logistics you use, what systems for registration, link distribution, client tracking? That's a lot of questions. And is there anything specific you're interested in, Caitlin? Because that would be probably a whole, this is something we teach in the program, but I'm afraid that would be a lot to go into here, right? In a nutshell, we have a landing page, we have a pop-up group, we have Kajabi that we use for most of the things we do, for landing pages, email distribution, yada yada. We have a texting software that we use to get the text out, and the retreat runs on Zoom. But there's like a lot of different pieces to it. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Okay, so I want to recap this, and I want to go into the numbers one more time. Okay, so the 5 things that you absolutely must have in place. So the number 1 we talked about is your unforgettable experience. So make sure every single session you're sprinkling in experiential stuff, over the top content, and kind of the mindset stuff that has people go, oh my God, she's talking to me kind of thing, right? Like, oh, that's me. I really like to sprinkle in like the sales pain point that people have, the imposter syndrome, all these things that have all the women in the retreats go like, whoop, like, yep, that's me, like, because that's the fun stuff. That's how people are like, whoa, that's how people really connect and relate with each other. And it's a lot of fun. Number 2, over the top support. Over the top support. Serve them in the retreat as if, they're already a client. Literally just serve and support, brainstorm with them, debrief every session with them, do implementation calls, do the homework threads and whatever you have. It really makes a huge difference. Okay. Number 3, sell your heart out. So, number 2 sides of it, right? One is getting present to your spiritual purpose. Why are you doing this? Why are you on this path? Why is this the best program in the world? Why did why are you doing this? What's your mission, right? What's your vision for the world? And then the other thing is the mechanics of the selling, right? Your selling stack, your stories, your emotional buying triggers, you're selling to objections, yada, yada, yada. All of that stuff has to be there, right? Having client interviews, having clients to come on, being able to answer questions from potential clients, so on and so forth, right? Number 4, know your numbers. Know your numbers. So 4 times the level, you want to have 4 times the number of qualified leads participating, hot and qualified leads. I should say hot and qualified leads to the number you want to close, right? If you're working with somebody on your team, right, make sure if their goal is to make X number in commissions, what does that mean? They need to close X number of sales. What does it mean? They need to have X number of hot and qualified leads, right? They can count on showing up on day one, and you know that they're qualified because they check off all these different things, okay? And number two, on day one, you want to have 8 times the number of people watching to the number you want to close. If you're 10K plus, about 5 times if you're 5 to 10K. 3x of people you want to see your offer all the way through, right? All the way through to what you want to close, the number of you want to close. A minimum of 2 to 3x number of consults to the number of sales you want to close. And number 5, never, ever, ever go below 250 registrants, right? And if you don't get there, then you have to have, if you don't get there, then, you know, there's some conversations to be had. Are those people that I have there, are they qualified or not? Do I need to reschedule it and get more leads, right? But it's better to plan ahead accordingly, give yourself plenty of time, you know, time block and you know, get the help if you need, get a VA to help you with it, so on and so forth. And finally, a no-brainer program to lead people into, whether it's a super high-ticket one-on-one program or a group program that can be priced a little bit lower, a little bit more affordable, depending on who you serve. So anyway, for some of you guys, if you want to drop, feel free to drop. But for those of you guys who are like, okay, I want to know how I work with you, I want to spend the next 5 minutes going over what that looks like, okay? So for some of you are like, okay, I got this. I'm okay to implement my own. For some of you, you're like, this sounds really exciting. I would like to find out more about how I can work with you and what that looks like and what's the pricing and yada, yada, yada. So, and I don't really have too much time to go into the details because I have to really drop in about 5 minutes, but I want to extend an important invitation, and that is to join us in a free consult for those of you guys who want to learn more. But before we do that, let me tell you just a little bit about what I do. So it's called the Quantum Leap Entrepreneur. It's an absolutely unbelievable incubator where we take businesses from the 4 different verticals that I mentioned: health and wellness, love and relationships, business and career coaching, and spiritual teaching and leadership and teaching. That includes life coaching, what we have. And we take them from 0 to 6 to multi-6 and beyond figures, okay? So that's what we do. It's a very, very thorough, a lot of support. It's strategies, it's tactics, it's mindset, it's everything you could possibly need. It's, you know, we always joke, you know, I cannot even, like, I have an MBA and I cannot even tell you, from top 15 university, I cannot even tell you how useless it is in the business world, unfortunately, in the world of entrepreneurship. So this is a little bit different way to do your MBA, really. And it is for people who are very, very committed, very, very committed to their business. In 2021, they really want to take their business to the next level, and they want the support and the strategies and really the predictable step-by-step to follow, right? The A to Z on everything, so that I can actually make sure that this is the year that they succeed. So anyway, some of the things we provide, I mean, I could literally spend the next 40 minutes going through all the A to Z's. And unfortunately, we don't have time to do that. But what I want to offer to you, those of you who are interested in jumping on a call and talking about it, we're offering a free 20-minute conversation. And Selena or Jay are going to pop the link in the chat. It's like bit.ly/strategy conversation. And I think this Wednesday and Thursday afternoon, we're offering those. And you want to make sure you guys, when you see us on the list, make sure you're picking the person you're connected to. Okay, so if you're connected with Jay, make sure you schedule a session with Jay. If you're connected with Selena, schedule a session with Selena. If you're connected with me, schedule a session with me, because it's going to give you like an option to pick one of us, or, you know, reach out of our DM if you can't schedule that session. So we're offering those this week. And what we're going to do is just talk about the timing, like, if you're considering this, when is the right time to do it? What's the time investment? What's the, is this going to work for you? Does it work for your kind of business? What is your strategy that you're going to be going, right? The retreat versus program/whatever. Or maybe this is something you're considering in the future and you just kind of do your due diligence and think ahead of time. So I still haven't seen the link in the chat. So I'm going to see. I can't post it. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So so Jay just posted in the chat. It's bit.ly/strategy conversation. So make sure you schedule that. And for those of you guys who are not interested, no problem at all. This is totally like a no obligation conversation. We just want to give you the information. You can ask as many questions as you want. We're going to walk through the A to Z's, but we kind of want to understand your business and learn about what you're doing and what you're creating, and is this the right fit for you? Because it might not be, right? It's not for everybody. It's quite a program, but I think it's the best. I know for a fact it's just the most unbelievable program that you can imagine. Anyway, I'm so excited about this. For the rest of you guys, make absolutely sure you registered for the January 25th retreat. We cannot wait to connect with you guys who are registered before to make sure you may customize this experience to you. I'm just so excited. We're like tweaking and everything right now as we go. Some of other logistics for y'all. Next week, we're going to be talking about visioning. Visioning, and of course, right? I do visioning several times a week all year. It's not just like a New Year's thing for me. It's an all the time thing. But I think it's definitely the time of the year to really reset and talk about your vision. So we're going to talk about different aspects of that. So I can't wait to see you all here live next Monday, same time. Whatever time it is. I'm actually in Europe, so for me it's 8 p.m. right now. So depending where you are, it's 11 Mountain, 1 Eastern, the usual time. So I can't wait to see you guys next week. Can't wait to, chat with y'all. Those of you who want to find out what and how and whatever about a program and will this work for you. And otherwise, I cannot wait to see you next week.